Okay, welcome back to the next video here. We've jumped back into the computer screen here, and if you've been following along here, you probably have a window up, but just go ahead and close out anything else, because sometimes what I found is if you have another tab open, sometimes Photoshop will grab that and it'll put it into this folder with the processed images. I don't know why, it's just like a weird little glitch. It shouldn't do that. So what I usually do is just close out everything. And another little quick pro tip before I forget is if you are on a Mac computer, and I'm sure Windows does this too, but it's super easy to just swipe over on your Magic Mouse to different screens. Like I have this white one here for doing videos, impromptu. I have this one, photo school, whatever. So I have all these different desktops. So what I like to do is I like to do most of my work on the very first desktop, and then I like to bring Photoshop onto the second desktop, and then it kind of when we run this image processor like we're going to do here shortly, what happens is Photoshop takes over the whole world, and it wants to control everything. It wants to be on top, and it wants to force its way into using as much CPU, as much of the computer, the RAM, the everything. So it's like a big hog. So we want to put it on a second desktop here, so that if we need to work while this is working, we can just swipe over and we're on another desktop. And we can work on this desktop, and Photoshop usually doesn't interfere with what we're doing here. So we want to just bring it over here to this other desktop. And then with Photoshop open, we're going to go to File and Scripts and Image Processor. So this is what we're going to use. This is the tool. It's kind of hidden in here, but this is the tool that we're going to use to bulk process our images. Click that, and you'll see this little pop-up window comes up, says Image Processor at the top. Different steps: Step 1, Step 2, Step 3, and Step 4. So let's always start at the top. We want to include all subfolders, and then we're going to click on this one that says Select Folder. So we don't want to use open images because nothing's open. So we're going to select this folder here, and let's go into whatever folder it is. So if you're like me, you got these events, and pick an event, go to that set of folders, and you see we break them down into groups of 25 or less. Now, if you already have all of these in here broken down into groups, say maybe you're not doing this as the event progresses, maybe you're doing it at the end. So you can actually just very much bulk do it and start anywhere in this process. But let's just try to keep it short and sweet and just do these here real quick. We'll just do 1 through 25, and we'll click open. Now we want to go to step 2 here, and we want to keep the folder structure. Super important. It's more important when you are back here and you're doing, folders with the whole structure. So the further back you start, the more important that is to keep the folder structure. Otherwise, it'll just dump them all into one folder and undo all of the hard work that you've done. So we do not want to save in the same location. We want to pick a new location. So what I've done here is I've created on my hard drive a new folder called Small Pics. Now we're going to do one called Processing Course here. But I would just, as you see here, like Ruby Buckle, this was an event that we did the other day, and you'll see this is the open, and then round 1, and then here's what we're going to end up with. But for this, let's start here, start fresh, processing course, and then open and do round 1. And in that we have 1 through 25. So you have to make the very first folder that you're starting with. So whatever folder you chose here, we want to replicate everything before that and up to that point. So if you just If you chose in the step 1, you chose the round 1, but you have all these other folders in here, then you just have to create the round 1 folder. We're creating this 1 through 25 folder um, because that's what we chose in step 1. So we're just duplicating that into this other folder called small pics to keep things separate, so it's less likely that we're going to have any issues down the road. So we're going to hit open there, and then step 3, file type. We want to save this as a JPEG, and we want to resize to fit. So our quality is 8. You can experiment with different quality settings and see where that lands you. Quality 8 has been fine for me. It's hard to tell on the web a difference between 7, 8, 9, and 10. Anything less than that, I think I could tell the difference. It starts to really get degraded quality here. We're going to resize these to fit. So 1100 by 1100. This just means whatever the longer edge is, whether it's shooting vertical and your long edge is high or your long edge is wide, whatever is the longest edge will be 1100 pixels. And we're going to convert this to sRGB because sRGB is a smaller color profile for uploading to the web. Leave this unchecked, the save as PSD. We do not want to do that. That's a bigger file, and save as TIFF. That's a big file too. So step 4, preferences. This is where we're going to add the watermark. Now, if you don't want that watermark, like we talked about earlier, if for whatever reason you want to add the watermark in post, that's fine. If you want to add it like in your website, have it automatically put the watermark on, that's okay. For me, I have several employees, and sometimes they will grab this photo in here that is the low res version and try to print it for customers when things are going crazy and it gets really hectic in the booth. So having this action place the watermark on there really has been beneficial for me to give them a major red flag that says, hey, you picked the wrong photo here, and then we can get things fixed up from there. That way we don't go ahead and print it over and over and over hoping it clears up, because that's happened. So leave this checked, run action, and here in your default actions, that's where we save this, and you'll just scroll down here. It's probably at the bottom. This watermark for course is what we called it, if you remember from the previous videos. And this copyright info is really not important, but whatever. Just leaves it there. This ICC profile is also not important. We do not need that, so leave that unchecked. This will keep your file size as small as possible. And then we're just going to hit run. So while this is running, we will skip to the end here, and you'll see as this is progressing through, you'll see that it's kind of flashing, and sometimes you'll see that it shows you the smaller version of the picture or whatever. But I'll just cut to the end here, and we'll see the result. Okay, so if we're back in our hard drive here, we'll click Ollie's Images 17, and we will go to the small pics in this processing course. That's what we're at now. In the open, the round 1, we made all these folders here. We made this folder here, and you'll see not all the photos are in there because I just let it do a handful of them, and then I force quit Photoshop. So I didn't have to wait on this, but you'll want to just let it, run its course. And it only takes like a minute or less, but just to be fast on my end, I just grab that. And you'll see if we click on any of these photos here and then just hit the space bar for preview, that lets us kind of preview what this photo is going to look like here. So you'll see the watermark that we made here, stolen from, do not screenshot, all that jazz. And it shows it on a small photo, and it fits perfectly. So this is exactly what we want it to look like before we upload it. So in the next section here, we're going to upload it to the website, and I'll show you some tips and tricks along the way.